2, 1.
Hello everyone. This video will summarize the process to get official certification from the ECE registry. I will describe 3 steps to get your official ECEA certificate. Step 1 is to register and complete the registration process at Coastal College of British Columbia. Step 2 is to complete the course. Step 3 is to submit all documentation to the ECE registry. So the certification procedure begins after you complete the course. So A, you must submit an application to the Director of the Early Childhood Educator Registry. You must demonstrate to the satisfaction of the Director, 1, that you are of good character, 2, that you have the personality, ability, and temperament necessary to manage or work with children, and 3, that you've completed a course at Coastal College of British Columbia, and 4, that you demonstrate the skills necessary to be an early childhood educator assistant. And C is to submit the course outline to the Director. Now, the staff at Coastal College of British Columbia are committed to help you fulfill all the requirements so that you can submit all the documents correctly to the ECE registry. So there are 4 documents that must be submitted to the ECE registry. So number 1 is a detailed course outline. The college will send the course outline directly to the ECE registry on your behalf, so you do not have to worry about sending a course outline. Number 2, official transcript. This too will be sent by the college. So Coastal College of British Columbia will send 1, a detailed course outline, and 2, your official transcript. These will be sent immediately after you complete the course. The third document that needs to go to the ECE registry is a character reference form. And I will show you a character reference form later in this video. Now, the character reference form must be completed by someone who has known you for at least 6 months and can speak to your ability to educate and care for young children. And if the person has not seen you interact with children, that's okay. It has to be someone who can speak to your character and cannot be a relative, partner, or spouse, and obviously you cannot be your own character reference. So your character reference form must be completed and signed by your reference within 12 months of your application, and your entire package will not be complete until the ECE registry receives your character reference form. Now, the person who completes your character reference form must send the character reference form directly to the ECE registry by mail. So the 4th document that must be submitted to the ECE registry is an application form. So the first thing you need to do when you are going to submit your application form is to gather your ID. So you need to submit a copy of 1 piece of primary ID and 1 piece of secondary ID from the table below. So your ID must be valid and government issued. ID that is not in English must be professionally translated. And please do not submit original identity documents, for example, birth certificates or passports. You can submit copies. So primary ID, you can submit your driver's license, BC ID card, BC services card, Canadian birth certificate, Canadian or foreign passport, Canadian citizenship card, Canadian permanent resident card, Canadian record of landing, Canadian immigration identification record, or your Indian status card. Secondary ID, you can send in your driver's license or learner's license issued by a Canadian province or territory, BC ID card, BC Services Card, Canadian Birth Certificate, Canadian or Foreign Passport, Canadian Citizenship Card, Canadian Permanent Resident Card, Canadian Record of Landing, Canadian Immigration Identification Record, Indian Status Card, Health or Services Card from another Canadian province or territory, Foreign Birth Certificate, or a photograph identity card issued by a foreign national or federal government. If you cannot provide any of the documents listed on the ID table, you should contact the ECE registry and they will help you in determining what documents they will accept. If your current legal name is different than the name on some of or all of your supporting documents, you must submit a proof of name change. For example, a government-issued marriage certificate, divorce certificate or papers, government-issued change of name document. Remember to complete the application fully and submit your application by mail. So the required forms, and I will go over these after I go over this document, you will need to submit the application form and you will need to submit the character reference form. Remember, it is important that you ensure that all required documentation is submitted as soon as possible. So once you complete the course and get your progress report, that is the date that you have completed the course. So remember that missing or incomplete documents will delay your application process. Make sure you inform your references that a delay in the ECE registry's receipt of your reference forms will result in a delay in processing your application. And this is why we send you the character reference form at the start of your program so that you can ensure that a person completes the reference form in a timely manner. And if you have any questions about requirements, you can contact the ECE registry or the college. Your application will remain open for 1 year from the date your first application document is received by the ECE registry, and incomplete applications are closed after 12 months. And if your contact information changes during the application process, you can submit a change of information form that's located on the ECE registry and a piece of valid government-issued photo ID. Keeping your information current will allow the ECE registry to contact you about your application. So after you apply, timelines. Let's talk about timelines. So applications can only be assessed once all documentation is received. So again, the ECE registry requires 4 documents. They require your transcript, they require your course outline, which the college will send immediately after you complete the course, and they need your application form as well as the character reference form. Completed applications are assessed in date order. So in terms of assessment, the ECE registry will review your application to ensure that it is complete. If your application is incomplete, or if it is determined that additional information is required, they will contact you and ask you for that information. Incomplete applications, remember, will result in delays in processing your application. Once your application is complete, the ECE registry will assess your application and supporting documents to determine if you meet all the legal requirements to be certified. You will receive a letter that tells you if your application was approved or denied, and if it is denied, they will let you know what other information you need to send to them. So possible outcomes: the decision to approve or deny an application is based on the Community Care and Assisted Living Act, Section 8, and the Child Care Licensing Regulations, Section 33. So your certificate will be issued and sent to the mailing address that you wrote on your application. If you meet all the legal requirements, then your certificate will be issued to you and mailed to the certificate, and your certificate will be mailed to you at the address that you wrote on your application form. Once issued, the status of your application can be validated by entering your last name, certificate number, and expiry date of your certificate on the ECE website. To maintain your certificate, you must continue to meet all legal requirements, and you must submit a renewal application and supporting documents once after 5 years. So your certificate is valid for 5 years. If your certificate is denied, if you do not meet all the legal requirements, the ECE registry will deny your application and send you a letter explaining the decision. You can dispute the decision by requesting reconsideration. So now let's look at the other two forms. So the first form that we will look at is the character reference form. So this form must be completed by somebody that you know, who they cannot be a relative, partner, or spouse, and they must have known you for at least 6 months. So where it says it cannot be the same person you provided as a work experience reference, that does not apply to ECEA. So it is important that you inform your reference that a delay in the ECE registry's receipt of this character reference form will result in a delay in processing your application. This is why we encourage students to start the character reference process early. So ensure that you send the character reference form to someone immediately when you start the course so that they can send it directly by mail to the ECE registry. Your character reference form must be completed and signed by a reference within 12 months of your application. So, applicant information. On this page, this is the student's information. So here you write your legal last name as it appears on your primary identification. You write your legal first name here. Again, it has to be the same as your primary identification. Residential mailing address, make sure it is accurate, include your unit number or if you live in a basement. City or town, include that in this area. Your province, include that in this area. Your postal code, you write your postal code in this box. Country, and your date of birth goes in this box. And then you must consent. I, the applicant, hereby consent the following reference. So this is the name of the person who will be doing the reference for you, to provide the ECE registry with this character reference and other related information as a part of my application for certification. So you, the student, the applicant, sign in this box here, and you must date the form. The second page is for your reference to fill out. So here in the first box, the character reference, on the character reference form, the person who completes your character reference has to write your name. And again, this has to be the full legal name of you, your name. Then they have to write down how long they have known you. And again, it has to be over 6 months. In the third box, they have to write down the relationship that they have with you. And in the fourth box, they have to describe a situation in which they have observed you working with young children. Now, if they have not seen you working with young children, it is okay. It says if you have not observed the applicant working with children, what characteristics and or qualities have you seen the applicant demonstrate that would be valuable when working with children? So, for example, it may be patience, that the student is patient. The next box, the question that they have to answer is explain why you consider the applicant to have the temperament and ability to manage or work with young children. And so your reference would write down in this box why you would be a good fit to work with young children and to manage them. The next question is, do you have any reason to believe the applicant should not be granted authorization to be an ECE assistant? ECE isn't relevant here. And this should be no, that they have no reason to believe that you should not work with children. Now at the bottom in this section, the reference includes their information. So the first name of the reference, last name of the reference's phone number, and the email address for the reference. And then the reference has to sign their name here and stating that to the best of their knowledge, the above information is complete and correct, and then they must date the document. And this character reference form must be mailed to the Early Childhood Educator Registry, Ministry of Children and Family Development, P.O. Box 9961, Station PROV Government, Victoria, BC, V8W 9R4. If you have any questions, you can contact the ECE Registry by email or by phone. But this document, as well as the application form, must be mailed to the Early Childhood Educator Registry. Now the next form that we will look at is the application form. So this is the application form, and we'll go on to, this is page 1, this is page 2. I will review this information that's on page 1 and 2 as we complete the form. And again, this form, the application form, must be mailed to the Early Childhood Educator Registry. And if you have any questions, you can either call the registry or email them. Page 3 is the first page of the application. Now here you would tick that you are applying for the Early Childhood Educator Assistant Certificate. Contact information. Here you must include your legal name as it appears on your primary identification. In this box, you must include your legal first name as it appears on your primary identification. Here you add your middle name, and if you have a preferred name, you can add it in this box. Now, if you have a previous name, for example, if you got married or divorced, or you have had a name change, you would add it in here and ensure that you send the accompanying documentation. Your date of birth goes in this box. In this box, you write your address, and again, be sure that you include your unit number, or if you live in the basement. City or town, you write it in here. Province, you include your province here. Postal code, you write your postal code in there. Country, you include in this box. Your primary contact phone number, and if you have an alternate contact phone number, you can include it in there. Email address goes in this box, and your preferred contact method you choose if you want to be contacted by phone, by mailing address, or email address. Now, this does not apply to you because you do not hold any other certificate with the ECE registry, so you skip this part. Section 2 is education information. So in this part, you include the following information. So the full name of the educational institution is Coastal College of British Columbia. Name of the program. So if you are taking ECEA 300, you would write it here. If you are taking ECEA 100, Child Development, you would write that there. If you are taking ECEA 200, Child Guidance, you would write that there. So name of the program, as it appears on your official transcript. So ECEA 300, your student name goes here as it appears on your official transcript. Your ID number will be listed on your transcript. You can always call the college and we will send you your ID number. Language of instruction is English. Country of educational institution is Canada. And here you would write the start date of your program, and here you would write the end date of your program. And this would be the date. Your end date is the date that you get your progress report. Now there's a number of boxes below that have to be completed as well. So education documentation. To ensure your application is complete, select one option from each section that applies to you. So in the course outlines syllabi section, you will tick, I have requested my course outline syllabi from my educational institution, and they will submit my course outline syllabi directly to the ECE registry. So again, we will send your course outline directly to the ECE registry. Program confirmation form. This does not apply to you as you are applying for an ECEA certificate. So leave this box empty. Official transcript. You tick the first box, I have requested my official transcript from my educational institution, and they will submit my official transcript directly to the ECE registry. So again, Coastal College will submit your course outline as well as your transcript directly to the ECE registry. And in this fourth box, you do not need to complete it because your education was not completed outside of Canada. Section 3, you tick the first box, I have provided a character reference form to my reference. The second box does not apply. The third box, you tick, I have enclosed a copy of valid government issued primary identification. You put an X in this box. I have enclosed a copy of valid government issued secondary identification. Now, if you have had a name change, you tick this box. Otherwise, you do not put an X in that box. In section 4, you confirm your understanding by putting an X beside each of the statements below. So the first X indicates that you understand that the ECE registry may require additional information, including supporting documents in connection with this application. You put an X in the second box. I confirm that the information provided in this application is complete and accurate. I understand if inaccurate information is submitted, it may result in the denial of certification. You put an X in the third box. I understand that information in this application or subsequently provided information may be reviewed, audited, and verified for the purpose of determining or auditing my eligibility for an ECE certificate in British Columbia. And you put an X in the fourth box. I understand that the ECE registry may take disciplinary action against me, including action to cancel my certification if I have, by omission or commission, knowingly given false or misleading information in the course of completing this application. So you must write your full name here as it is stated on your primary identification, sign in this box, and date the form in this box. Now section 5 only applies to you if you are under the age of 19. So the majority of students will not fill in this section. And that is the application form. So again, there are 4 documents that must be sent to the ECE registry. course outline and transcript will be sent by the college directly to the ECE registry, and you will submit this application as well as have somebody submit your character reference form to the ECE registry. And throughout this process, if you need any support, you can always contact the ECE registry or the college. Thank you again for taking your course at Coastal College of British Columbia. We are very excited that you are on your journey to getting your official certification for the ECEA certificate.